Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy DC coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. I'm gonna show y'all how to get those pro mainstream sounding masters using UAD plugins, okay? So if you guys do like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And today I'm gonna show y'all my mentality, my mindset when it comes to mastering, the thinking part. It's not just the doing, it's the thinking part. All right, so if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below to support the channel. Check the links and also let me know what you think in the comments. So let's get to it.
On fait le show, pas de trace qui aurait visé sur un pack, multiplié le flow. All eyes on me, en pleine lune, ma comique. Qui tige touche au plus près, la plus claire des lunes. 360 mètres jack. Ça c'était moi qui étais quoi. OG met dans la lumière sur le passé.
All right, so I got this mastering chain right here that I built mostly using UAD plugins, almost all UAD, and I want to show you guys you know, it step by step, you feel me? So let's actually look at the original raw, just mixed with no bus processing.
On fait le show, pas de trace qui aurait visé sur un pack, multiplié le flow. All eyes on me, en pleine lune, ma comique. Qui tige touche au plus près, la plus claire des lunes. 360 mètres jack. Ça c'était moi qui étais quoi. OG met dans la lumière sur le.
Okay, so you guys hear that even without the frosting, the cake tastes good. So you got to think about it in the mastering mentality. A lot of the times people think that mastering is going to make up for the fact that the mix isn't there. Imagine it to be like a mud cake, right? If you were making a cake and you use mud and you use like stones and sticks, even if you put vanilla frosting, which is like the mastering plugins over it, that ain't going to make it taste any better. You feel me? It's just a cover up, right? So what I like to do is make sure that my mix actually tastes good. The cake actually fucking tastes good in your mouth and is sweet before I put on the frosting and the fruits and all the decorative stuff. So my mix actually sounds good. Like I genuinely mixed it and made it sound good. The vocal sounds clear, the beat sounds thick and full and all that stuff. And the first plugin I usually use a lot of times is like a Fairchild plugin. The reason why I use a Fairchild plugin a lot, you know, like on a lot of my mixes, you guys notice that because I just love what the Fairchild does. It's like a smiley face EQ of saturation because of the parts inside of it. It's got the big booty transformer, which adds the weight, it adds the body, the thickness, the peanut butter frequencies into the mix. And then it has the tubes, which is like that sweet airheads type of gushers, sweetness in the top end. So this is just like just getting more of what's already tasting good. Okay, so I'm amplifying of what's more like, it's like if I had a calculator then I click ×2, I'm multiplying what's already there, you know, type shit like that. You feel me? I'm using it as a multiplier. So here I just use the default preset and I pull back the parallel knob and it just brings in more of that forwardness. That's what the combination of the tubes and transformers are doing, and that's why it's amazing for mastering.
On fait le show, pas de trace qui aurait visé sur un pack, multiplié le flow. All eyes on me, en pleine lune, ma comique. Qui tige touche au plus près, la plus claire des lunes. 360 mètres jack. Ça c'était moi qui étais quoi. OG met dans la lumière sur le passé. Je t'aime et qui t'aimera à vie dans mes pensées. Plus jamais si j'avais tous mes œufs dans le même panier. Perceur de cause cachée.
So this type of saturation is important for me. I use saturation a lot of the times, you know. The technique I usually use is just running it through the plugin, but you hear it, that saturation adds density. It makes everything sound more forward. It's helping the beat. It's also helping the effects too. You know, that more saturation in the high end is helping the reverb shimmer. It's helping the delay. All this stuff is becoming more audible just because of that plugin and more forward. Now I use the pull tech. Generally, I usually use the pull tech just to like let it run through and get more tube saturation. But here I actually, you know, I use like a little bit of EQ. I just did it just to get a little bit more low end out of the track, just because of the way this beat is. The bass is very sparse. It doesn't always come around like your uncle, you feel me? It doesn't always come around to the family reunion. So that's why I did a little bit of low end boost at 100 hertz, and the low end, it also just helps with the chest, the kick, you know. So sometimes if I don't have access to the stems, knocking out a 2-for-1, helping the bass and the kick is boosting that 100 hertz. Then after that, I like to cycle between 5, 8, 10 and 12k, right, just to get a little bit more brightness, and this helps my vocal become a little bit more present.
On fait le show. Pas de traces qui auraient visé sur un pack, multiplié le flow. All eyes on me, en pleine lune, ma comique. Kitty, je touche au plus près, la plus claire des lunes. 3-6 et mettre jack. Ça c'était moi qui étais quoi. OG mettons la lumière sur le passé. Je t'aime et qui t'aimera à vie dans mes pensées. Plus jamais 6 avec tous mes œufs dans le même panier. Perceur de cause cachée.
Okay, so it's very delicate, kind of like when you go to the laundromat and you're washing like a really thin piece of clothes, and one of the things on the laundry, thing will be like, okay, delicate clothes. So now this is gonna work a little bit softer, like the mode on the washer machine or the dryer, right? So that's how I imagine this pull tech to be. It's very delicate, only doing like a dB, something like that, and even then it's a gradual EQ. All right, so it's not something that's too crazy. I like to use the Oxford inflator. That's my next UAD plugin of choice, right? And I know that the Oxford inflator does exactly like that. It blows that shit up. It's like a jetpack. You feel me? It just brings in a little bit more of that expansion. You feel me? It makes things bigger, right? And it gives more harmonic density. So I kind of don't like to use EQ too much, or a boosting EQ on my master fader. I like to use saturation because it comes with more thickness and fullness, and that's what I really want out of my mixes. So sometimes you got to ask yourself that: do you want more fullness, or do you want more of whatever else that EQ is going to give you, or that compressor is going to give you? I don't generally use compression on my mix bus, and if I ever do, I might use something like the Fairchild because it's very smooth. The attack time is very slow. And, for the most part, it's just going to really, calmly put the hands around the mix. It's not going to aggressively grab it, but it's just going to ever so calmly, like a pottery person, just shape the mix into what I want it to be. So the Oxford inflator, I just pull this knob up a little bit, and sometimes when I really want to get that hip-hop sound, I'll take the input and push it a little bit more and turn on the clipper. The clipper will generate more distortion as you push in the mix past 0 dB.
On fait le show, pas de traces qui auraient visé sur un pack, multiplié le flow. All eyes on me, en pleine lune, ma comique. Kitty, je touche au plus près, la plus claire des lunes. 3-6 et mettre jack. Ça c'était moi qui étais quoi. OG mettons la lumière sur le passé. Je t'aime et qui t'aimera à vie dans mes pensées. Plus jamais 6 avec tous mes œufs dans le même panier. Perceur de cause cachée, bien que je continue de creuser. Je reconnais la pierre précieuse du colon au cristal. D'où je viens moi, les rêves sont interdits. Pourtant je persiste à rêver. Mes actes ont pris l'espace de prière.
Yeah, so it reminds me, like, without the plug-in, the mix sounds like a flat bike tire. When you legit and you ran over like a nail or a rock with your bike, and now the bike tire is flat. It feel like it lacks fullness, right? So this thing is like the bike pumper shit. It just makes the mix sound like that bike tire when it is full of air. Now it's round. Now it has more shape. Now it's more protruding type shit. Then after that, I use the UAD ATR. So pay attention. A lot of times my chains is saturation, right? Because with the saturation, I'm getting more of what's already there. You feel me? I'm getting more fullness. That's what I feel like digital mixes just miss a lot of times. The sound is great, but it might just be that fullness. So that's the thing about why people might say analog stuff sounds better back in the day, because there was layers and layers and layers of saturation. So sometimes when you get in the computer, you got to figure out, maybe that's what my mix is lacking. Maybe it doesn't need to be brighter. Maybe it doesn't need to be demuddied or whatever, less mud. Sometimes it just needs more saturation to make it more full. So yeah, I like this plugin too because it's going to add in a mid-range bump, right? It's going to add in a mid-range bump, right? So, I already boosted 100 hertz, but now this tape is bringing in another mid-range bump, which is probably going to help my kick, probably help my vocals feel good. Pay attention too, when I do the mastering preset, this is damn near at the end, you feel me, when my mix actually sounds good. So, maybe if something changes in the mix, I might go back. But here what I did is I wanted the vocal to kind of sound thin because I was going for like a Rowdy Rich song. His voice is not deep, but I still made the voice kind of sound like thin, even at that point, I'm still cutting into the vocal. And I knew that maybe my master fader is what's going to make up for the thinness, right? So now this mid-range bump is working in that low-mid area of that vocal.
On fait le show, pas de traces qui auraient visé sur un pack, multiplié le flow. All eyes on me, en pleine lune, ma comique. Kitty, je touche au plus près, la plus claire des lunes. 3-6 et mettre jack. moi qui étais quoi. OG mettons la lumière sur le passé. Je t'aime et qui t'aimera à vie dans mes pensées. Plus jamais s'isoler tous mes œufs dans le même panier. Perceur de causes cachées, bien que je continue de creuser. Je reconnais la pierre précieuse du colon au cristal. D'où je viens moi.
So tape is also a great thing because of the deharshing properties, you know, because, you know, it's going to smooth off the top end of the tape, but you pay attention to how my mix is already so like bright, right? Like the vocals bright. I've kind of already made everything bright knowing that, okay, I'm going to use this and that's going to roll off the top end. So it's like a deharsher. It's like I'm using a natural 100% no sugar added de-esser through the form of tape. So with this plugin, just know like the tape formulas, I just fuck around and pick one that I like. And if you do push this calibration up higher, you'll get more tape compression. So this is a form of doing compression. Saturation is also a form of doing compression too. You feel me? You know, it kind of reduces like the dynamics in the mix. So that's how I'm achieving my glue through multiple saturators. Okay. And then the next plugin, I always like to throw this right before I throw in the limiter. It's always going to be like some sort of soothe plugin, silk vocal, whatever, just some plugin that's going to go in there and take out some of the redundancies. You know, back in the day, what I would do is I'd probably take an EQ and do some frequency sweeps, you know, like maybe there's some overlapping frequencies between the vocal and the beat and the music all together. But I like to use something like Ozone Stabilizer, Golf Foss, whatever type of, you know, smart processing plugin that will go in there and just, you know, be a janitor at closing time and just mop the floor and clean shit up, you know?
Et on fait le show, pas de trace, tu aurais visé sur un pack, mais tu peux citer le flow. Oh la me, en pleine lune, ma comique. Kitty, je touche au plus près, la plus claire des lunes. 3-6 et mettre jack. Ça c'était moi qui étais quoi. OG mettons la lumière sur le passé. Je t'aime et qui t'aimera à vie dans mes pensées. Plus jamais s'isoler tous mes œufs dans le même panier. De causes cachées, bien que je continue de creuser. Je reconnais la pierre précieuse du colon au cristal. D'où je viens moi, les rêves sont interdits. Pourtant je persiste à rêver. Mes actes ont pris l'esprit.
You could also use this plugin as a really dope tool too. You got to think about it like my mix kind of already damn near sounds perfect in the low end and in the low mid. That's why even when I crank it up to like 25%, it's still not pulling nothing down. You feel me? It's like a smart algorithm. So you can use this as a mixing tool too. Maybe you know, once in a while you slap it on the master fader and you let it tell you where's the problem areas, where's the areas where there's too much activity going on. Then you can turn off the plugin, go into your actual mix and fix that yourself, you know, because you hear, okay, maybe that's the area where the vocal is at and the hi-hat. Let me try to get those to work together because they're kind of, you know, building up too much. The faucet is dripping and leaking. So let me go with my tool hammer under the actual mix sink and actually, you know, with my wrench and everything and actually fix the problem my damn self. All right. So the last thing I like to use a UAD plugin is going to be precision limiter. You can use any limiter that you want, but with mastering, a lot of times you might want to use a limiter that might provide you with more than one mode. Maybe because maybe the attack and the release is a little bit different. Maybe because they also add a different quality. That's why I like using something like FabFilter Pro L. I recommend if you don't have that, at least try to have different types of limiters because different types of limiters distort in different types of ways. And, you know, sometimes you can use that as an advantage to get more texture and more feeling and more of that crispy chicken skin flavor, that spicy honey jalapeno flavor. You can use the limiter and how you hit the limiter to get more flavor out of your master. So that's something to also know. Let's look at this one right here though.
Et on fait le show, pas de trace, tu aurais visé sur un pack, mais tu peux citer le flow. Oh la me, en pleine lune, ma comique. Kitty, je touche au plus près, la plus claire des lunes. 3-6 et mettre jack. Ça c'était moi qui étais quoi. OG mettons la lumière sur le passé. Je t'aime et qui t'aimera à vie dans mes pensées. Plus jamais s'isoler tous mes œufs dans le même panier. Perceur de causes cachées, bien que je continue de creuser. Je reconnais la pierre précieuse du colon au cristal. D'où je viens moi, les rêves sont interdits. Pourtant je persiste à rêver. Mes actes ont pris le...
So usually I like to keep it at around 9 to 10 lufs. If you were to do more than that, hey, you better make sure you got good monitoring, because the louder and the louder you go, you pushing your limiter louder and louder, you're gonna introduce distortion. So, you know, if you want to push your way louder, hey, that's on you. But I noticed, me personally, a guy who mixes hundreds of songs, who has mixed hundreds of songs, that usually when I send a mix that's like 9 lufs, 10 lufs, people are more than happy with the loudness, and that's how we achieve a pro master that gets sounding competitive. You feel me? So I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of me showing you how to master using UAD plugins. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And down below, you want to support the channel, you know, go ahead and check the links, and in the comments, let me know what you think. All right. Appreciate you. Now my YouTube